I know that you've all heard all about the GameStonk experience going on. The stock prices being driven up. GameStop, AMC, other companies like that, sticking it to the hedge funds. The hedge funds that, of course, play this game and steal our money anyway. A lot of people became millionaires. A lot of people became billionaires. A pretty interesting thing that happened, but interesting in a way I don't think many people really are putting together. And I haven't heard many people talking about this because it seems if even for an instant, the left and the right, both with different beliefs, different points of view, different ideologies, could agree on one thing. They both take pleasure in sticking it to the man. And who is the man in this instance? The man, ladies and gentlemen, the man is Wall Street. The man is hedge funds, rich billionaires, folks that toy with our lives while we toil for their lives, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty interesting stuff. A bunch of folks got together on Reddit and then drove the price up, costing these billionaires tons of money, tons and tons of money. And then beyond that, you got apps like Robinhood and these hedge funds and others colluding, doing the illegal thing and literally shutting down the free market on people. People are most likely going to go to jail. Dave Portnoy and others call for it. Obviously, the market's being manipulated. But folks, I think that the most important thing we can do, besides speculating on it, is just read this article from the Wall Street Journal, get through it, talk about it. I love this guy's name. He's known as Deep Fucking Value. All right. Hey, there's going to be cursing in this episode. The guy's name is Deep Fucking Value. So if you don't like cursing or you got kids, this isn't the episode for them. I'm not going to curse too much, but I'm not going to censor this guy's name. I think he deserves some credit. I'm really happy to see the little guy basically get one over on the dude. It's almost like a real Robin Hood experience. You know what I mean? Keith Gill, all right? This is the Wall Street Journal. I pay for these subscriptions so I can actually read these articles to you. The Wall Street Journal, Keith Gill drove the GameStop Reddit mania, and he talked to the Journal trader known as Deep Fucking Value on the Wall Street Bets forum, helped turn the investing world upside down. And he's quoted as saying, "I didn't expect this." And that's kind of why we shouldn't expect to see much legal action taken against these people, because they're civilians talking in an open forum, giving each other kind of quasi-advice about what to invest in. There's nothing illegal about that. It's just the rich people being pansies, pissing and moaning because they didn't get their way for once. One time out of a million times that they get to win. The little guy wins and they can't hack it. Maybe, just maybe, something like this is what this country needs. Maybe it's like a shock from a defibrillator almost, you know? Clear, just fucking, maybe it's neat. I'm saying, I'm not saying violence or anything like that, but maybe this is how we do it. Maybe we have to keep finding these very, very intelligent ways to break in the back door. What's that Beastie Boys song, ladies and gentlemen? It's sabotage! Maybe we need to be on a digital, legal sabotage mission, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, pretty interesting stuff. By the way, I'm still real nasally. I'm sure you've noticed by now I've got this sinus infection going, so I'm sorry. You'll just have to deal with it. But we're going to go through this article. We're going to go through a couple other articles. I want to try this method. I think we might be able to do a couple different things on certain episodes and then chop them up to try to get our numbers up. The censorship is doing a real number to us, but once we get the street teams launched, I think that's going to help us on the back end. Now, we've got a timeline we're thinking about 4 to 5 weeks until the street teams are running. But we've got folks checking in Las Vegas, folks checking in Nashville, Tennessee, folks checking in Ventura, in California. I mean, there are people ready across this country to spread the word of the American Reveille, ladies and gentlemen, and it's very exciting. So with that being said, I know we've had a lot of false starts here, but we're finally going to start reading. All right, guys, this is the Wall Street Journal. This is by Julia Ambra Verlaine and Gunjan Banerjee. I think I said that right. Banerjee, Gunjan Banerjee. And this is for the Wall Street Journal. Boston, the investor who helped direct the world's attention to GameStop, leading a horde of online followers in a bizarre market rally that made and lost fortunes from one day to the next, says he's just a normal guy. I didn't expect this, said Keith Gill, 34 years old, known as Deep Fucking Value by fans on Reddit's Wall Street Bets forum, and Dada by his 2-year-old daughter. And that's wonderful. I have an almost 2-year-old daughter who calls me da 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 da. That's at least how she says it at this point. He said he didn't set out to draw the attention of Congress, the Federal Reserve, or hedge funds, the media, trading platforms, and hundreds of thousands of investors. Quote, this story is so much bigger than me, Mr. Gill told the Wall Street Journal in his first interview since unboxing this week of a volatile new stock market game. I support these retail investors, their ability to make a statement. To many of them, Mr. Gill, who until recently worked in marketing for Massachusetts Mutual Life Insurance Company, is the force behind the quadruple-digit gains in shares of the video game retailer GameStop, ladies and gentlemen, where I used to go buy Age of Empires 2 and Warcraft 3, so that I could play turn-based role-playing games once upon a time when I was a kid. Anyway, GameStop up more than 1,600%, folks, this year through Friday. On Wednesday, the stock jumped 135% to $347.51, a record before plunging to $194 a share. Then Thursday, and then after that, sharply it rebounded towards the end of the week. Now, at the start of the year, GameStop shares, all right, folks, they were $18. $18, folks. Now they're in the hundreds of dollars, worth more than Boeing stock, ladies and gentlemen. Many online investors say his advocacy helped turn them into a force powerful enough to cause big losses for established hedge funds and, for the moment, turn the investing world upside down. It's a warning shot, ladies and gentlemen, letting the man know that the little guy knows what's behind the curtain, and it stinks. Mr. Gill posted a screenshot of his brokerage account Wednesday showing a roughly $20 million daily gain on GameStop shares and options. Quote, your steady hand convinced many of us not only to buy, but to hold. Your example has literally changed the lives of thousands of ordinary normal people. Seriously, thank you. You deserve every penny you get, replied one Reddit user. Reality? This is actually really intelligent. Their name is reality_check. CZECH. Reality check. Here's a picture of this guy, folks. It looks like Neo from The Matrix with long hair and a red bandana. All right. He's like Ryu from Street Fighter. That's what he looks like a less jacked Ryu from Street Fighter, standing in front of a stock chart here with fluctuating graphing, line graph going up and down, up and down. The next day, Mr. Gill posted another screenshot showing about a $15 million loss. After Thursday's market close, his E-Trade brokerage account, viewed by the Journal, held around $33 million, baby. Woo! Including GameStonks, options, and millions of dollars in cash. This guy's like a cowboy. He's like a modern-day cowboy. Doesn't it feel like that? Like Jesse James type stuff? Woo! Mr. Gill's online persona. All right, folks. Oof, wait, let's back up for a second. I almost skipped ahead. He always liked money, said Elaine Gill, his mother, and as a child, she said he would get money from those scratch tickets that people didn't know they'd won, people who'd throw them on the ground. A lot of times there was still money on them. Mr. Gill's online persona. Now we're back to this part. Are you ready, folks? He goes by the name Roaring Kitty on YouTube and has drawn tens of thousands of fans and copycats who share screenshots of their own brokerage accounts. As the GameStop frenzy peaked this week, hundreds of thousands of new investors downloaded applications like Robinhood to join the action, and this is according to Apptopia Incorporated. Mr. Gill said he wasn't a rabble-rouser out to take on the establishment, just someone who believes investors can find value in unloved stocks. He never expected to have a legion of fans debating his online identity or millions of dollars in his trading account. In fact, he said that he was just a dad with an online hobby and a plastic kiddie slide on the front lawn of a Boston suburb. Just like you and me, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Gill began investing in GameStop around June 2019. Think about that. That's, what, a little over a year ago? A year and a half to change your life, ladies and gentlemen. 2019, he said, when it was hovering around $5 a share. Now, earlier that year, the game retailer was hunting for its fifth chief executive in a little over 12 months. This is the type of stuff that goes into speculating, taking a look at stocks, seeing what's failing, what's not failing, what might go up and go down. You have to look into the companies, and he noticed this. Over 5 chief executive officers in 12 months. That's a big deal. What's that say about a company, ladies and gentlemen? It says they're struggling, but he said that he saw potential for the struggling retailer to reinvigorate itself by attracting new customers with the latest and greatest in video game console. So he said people were doing a quick take, saying GameStop was the next blockbuster. He said a chain caught in a retail decline. It appeared many folks weren't digging in deeper. It was a gross misclassification of an opportunity. So Mr. Gill, tall with shoulder-length hair, opened a YouTube channel last summer, and he worked in the basement of the home he rents in Wilmington, Massachusetts, to avoid disturbing his daughter after bedtime. I love this story. On his channel, he touted GameStop and Belgian beers. His favorite is Delirium Tremens. And on a recent YouTube live stream, he wore a red headband and aviator sunglasses, like I said, Ryu from Street Fighter, while fielding the questions on stonks. Now, we could also say, what's that one, Bloodsport? Jean-Claude Van Damme. What did he play? John Dukes? John Dukes from Bloodsport, or Dukes or Ducks? I don't remember. They had to go to another country and fight in the Kumatai. Anyway, just look it up on Google. Everything I'm saying makes sense. He fights the bad guy, which is the super steroided out, jacked Asian dude. He fights this guy at the end of the movie, and he's wearing a red headband. That's why I'm thinking of this. Don't mind me. I watched too many movies in my life. Folks, he wore this red headband, Ryu from Street Fighter, with his aviator glasses, fielding questions on the stonks, pouring himself Prosecco, then switching to beers as he celebrated the big gains and gave shout-outs to his legions of viewers and traders in a 7-hour-plus extravaganza. This stream tallied more than 200,000 views. Now, Mr. Gill's obscene username on Reddit wallstreetbets forum is supposed to reflect a belief in value investing, buying shares of companies that are inexpensive relative to the underlying business. Among his many Reddit fans, Mr. Gill will go down as the greatest legend in history of Wall Street Bets, said John Hagdorn, a 34-year-old training supervisor based in Ronkonkoma, New York. He's the original OG. The stock's wild ride, seemingly divorced from standard measures of corporate value, has spurred complaints that investors banding together to provoke this kind of frenzy amounts to market manipulation. You know, that thing that the rich folks do all the time. The Securities and Exchange Commission said Friday it would act to protect retail investors when the facts demonstrate abusive or manipulative trading activity. Mr. Gill said he hasn't heard from the SEC whatsoever. So, looks like he's replacing Snoop Dogg as the original OG. Sorry, I had to. It's cheesy, I know. It's not even funny. Fast Times. I wonder, are they saying Fast Times like Fast Times at Ridgemont High just because he has long hair? Anyway, the first thing that I had asked him when this craziness started was, is this illegal or is any of this dishonest? And he said, no, Mom, it's not. This is Miss Gill, his mom. She lives in Brockton, Massachusetts. And that's where her and Mr. Steve Gill raised this guy, Mr. Gill, the gentleman who obviously led everybody on to buying this GameStonk experience, basically. I think this was an experience. That's why I keep calling it an experience, just because this isn't supposed to happen. Does this make sense to you, ladies and gentlemen? I know we keep reading this article, but I want to stop for a second to ask if this makes sense to you. You have to understand something. The elites in this country have done a fantastic job over the years keeping us little guys, all right, us plebs, us worker bees out of their party. And we found a way to crash their party because of the internet. That is what happened. That's why this is a big deal. So you have to understand that as we read forward, that this is literally all of us together, the little guy working en masse to stick it to the man. That is what's happening. The rich, for once, lost some power, capitalism prevailed, and the markets balanced themselves out. Not balance themselves out yet. There's gonna be a crash, but the wealth redistributed itself. It didn't need socialism to do that. Folks, in high school, Mr. Gill was a distance runner. He earned national honors on the team nearby Stonehill College, where he graduated in 2009 with an accounting major. He ran a 4-minute mile until sidelined by an Achilles injury. If I tried to run a 4-minute mile, I would die. I just want you to know that I would die. If I tried to run a 14-minute mile at this point, I still may die. I just want you to know, if you ever see me dying on the side of a road or dead, it isn't because somebody came after me and killed me. It's because I probably tried to run a mile. Mr. Gill moved to New Hampshire for a few years. He found a mentor, an investor and software developer that his aunt introduced him to. He holds a designation as a chartered financial analyst, and he said he was drawn by the complexity and challenge of stock picking, which became an outlet for the energy he once put into running. He started working at MassMutual in 2019. On the left, there's a little steno notepad. Maybe it's steno, whatever it is. It's a notepad where he's writing his little stonk notes. And of course, he's got the picture of the magic 8-ball on the right. And I guess him and his viewers on his show ask questions to the 8-ball. In the summer of 2019, he started building his position in GameStop and would post screenshots of his E-Trade account options positions from the wallstreetbets forum. Holy shit, bro. What made you drop $53,000 on GameStop? One trader posted about one of Mr. Gill's screenshots in September 2019. Now, in the months that followed, remember, folks, think about this. He's been doing this, talking to people, working with GameStop stock and people for months and months and months and months, over a year, right? So this isn't like he said something, coordinated something with a bunch of people and made it happen in a day. He's been praising and preaching and pushing GameStop for well over a year. In the months that followed, he posted regularly, putting up a GME YOLO update, a reference to GameStop's ticker and the mantra, "You only live once." He showed off gains in the 5 and 6 digits and times. And also he displayed the times when his investments plunged. Now, Mr. Gill stuck with GameStop and his wagers became day trader lore. To fans, he tapped into the desire by millions of amateur investors around the U.S. to try their hand at stock trading. Trading fees have fallen to zero, and apps now allow investors to buy and sell on their phones. The easy market access is augmented by an online community swelled with eager helpers. All right. And that's true. There are many people trying their hand in investing, and there are many experienced investors giving advice. I see it all over the internet. I actually, to tell you the truth, I have somebody on my Facebook account, and they've been telling me to invest in Bitcoin and showing me all of the numbers for stocks. And I've been telling them to kiss rocks, just get out of here. I wouldn't invest in this. It's too volatile. And now look at this. Mr. Gill proved that the little man actually has a chance. So I'm going to have to look at this guy and look at other people and say, hey, maybe I was wrong. I might have been wrong, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not always right about everything, though I am right a lot of the time. Many first-time investors stuck at home in the pandemic said they found solace in chatting with others online about trading stocks or options, as well as hearing from those making profitable bets. The discourse isn't always positive. An off-Reddit chat room associated with Wall Street Bets is filled with obscenity, racism, and anti-gay screeds. Many on the platform lash out against Wall Street power players, and some express the desire to see the financial pros reel from those losses. I'm not out for anybody, Mr. Gill said. Roaring Kitty was an educational channel where I was showcasing my investment philosophy. So this is one thing I want to mention. When they say that Wall Street Bets was a racist channel and that's why they shut it down, it's not. It's the offshoot. There's a channel that's associated with that channel, ran by other people doing other things, not involved with people like Mr. Gill. So you need to remember, you can't paint this with a broad brush. This is the Wall Street Journal. It's going to be a little lefty biased, but I wanted to put some other type of sources in here because both the left, like I said earlier, both the left and the right are against the elites in this instance. Not the left, as we would say, like the left in Washington, like the Pelosi's. I'm talking about the extreme left. The crazies on their side are aligned with the crazies on our side, apparently. It's kind of interesting. It really is kind of interesting to watch. I mean, we're in uncharted territory, and we're seeing these very interesting power dynamics and alliances. I mean, there's enough things to talk about for 1,000 videos a day. There really is. Let's talk about the bear bust, though, from this article. Many on Wall Street disagreed with Mr. Gill's bullish view on GameStop and have taken a big hit as a result. Hedge funds and other investment professionals piled into wagers that the shares would tumble to bet against a stock. Hedge funds do this, all right? This is explaining it. This is how it works. This is what the hedge funds were doing and how Mr. Gill was able to have an advantage, how thousands and millions were able to have an advantage. This is what they do to drive the prices down. To bet against a stock, hedge funds borrow shares and then sell them, hoping to buy them back later at a lower price and return them. That allows them to pocket the difference between the prices. And when a shorted stock stages such a dramatic rally, it turns painful, often forcing them to exit from the positions by purchasing shares at a loss. In turn, that can inspire sharp gains in a stock, like the sharp thousands of percentage gains rise in GameStop. This is known as a short squeeze, and I'm calling it GameStonk on purpose, all right? I know it's GameStop. Don't give me crap. The bearish positioning of hedge funds was part of what drew many small GameStop investors anticipating a short squeeze. Mr. Gill said in his investment strategy Mr. Gill said that his investing strategy didn't entirely depend on a short squeeze, but he knew others were potentially betting on it. So far, the professionals have been wrong, giving a win to Mr. Gill and other individual investors who bet big on GameStop. Hedge funds like Melvin Capital and Maple Lane Capital were the ones burned, as well as jeered by boastful Reddit investors. And it's funny, you can go search. There are tons of videos of people from hedge funds and other investment companies and things losing their minds on the internet, absolutely losing their minds because we found a way to beat them at their own game. Many others have piled into GameStop trying to ride the rally to the moon. As many Reddit investors say, individual investors have also piled into shares of companies like AMC Entertainment Holdings in the hope of catching similar momentum and making a quick buck. GameStonk has garnered hundreds of thousands of posts over the past month across Reddit, Twitter, and Facebook, and according to data this week from Meltwater, a global media intelligence company, as the stock has vaulted higher, its shares have traded in a frenzy, folks, making it one of the most popular bets in the U.S. market in recent days, according to Dow Jones market data. Look at this ninja. There he is. There's Ryu from Street Fighter. Frank, it's Frank, not John Dux. Frank Dux from Bloodsport. With his red bandana, seasoned traders are starting to take into account the behavior of influential investors like Mr. Gill and others. Mark Sebastian, founder of the Chicago-based Option Pit and options trader for around 20 years, has developed a screener analyzing reams of stock to spot those with heavy activity from individual investors. And then he buys or sells options based on which stocks are gaining momentum, trying to ride the wave higher or lower. Recently, this included AMC, the movie theaters that haven't showed a movie in months and months and months. Though he said he wasn't a fan. Quote, "We're trying to get on these names before they completely take off," Mr. Sebastian said, calling one recent trade free money. Mr. Gill said his life has changed overnight. He hasn't set his future plans yet, but he'd like to continue the Roaring Kitty YouTube channel, maybe even buy a house. "I thought this trade would be successful," he said, "but I never expected what happened over the past week." He has one dream in mind. "I always wanted to build an indoor track facility or a field house in Brockton," he said of his hometown, "and now it looks like I can actually do that." See, folks, that's the beauty of capitalism. First off, this is the American dream. This man on a gamble, on a wise and researched gamble, right, pushed for GameStop. A movement happened, became a millionaire, and now he's not going to go dominate the world, create a sex island, or do something terrible like go to Davos and talk to other rich billionaires about how to control the world through the fakeness of global warming. No. What's he going to do? He's going to build a facility in his hometown for track. So athletes have a place to go where previously they didn't. That's called contributing to society. That's how the American dream works, ladies and gentlemen. You work hard, you do something amazing, you achieve your dreams, you give back, and you pass it on to the next person. Folks, beautiful story, awesome stuff. Obviously, AOC doesn't care enough to work across the aisle. She says Ted Cruz can shove it. But at the end of the day, when I look at those on the left and we both look at each other and nod and then look towards this type of thing where we can collectively stick it to the man, maybe some of us, maybe at least some of us out there have something in common that we can actually one day unite around. After we solve all this voting mess and all of the corruption nonsense, maybe, just maybe, we can all unite around sticking it to the man. Maybe, just maybe, we can break the walls down. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here, and thank you for watching that clip. Folks, I appreciate you. I appreciate you so much that we're going to be going old school and finding ways to hit the street in a town or city near you. What do I mean by hit the street? I mean street team, folks. Old school 90s lanyards, pamphlets, stickers, and there's going to be a special surprise for all those who participate. Folks, if you want early in to what you're hearing, if you want to know more about what I'm talking about there, do me a favor, email me directly, James JamesLane at AmericanReveille.com. That's JamesLane at AmericanReveille.com. There's going to be a very, very special secret benefit to those who want to participate. Besides that, head to the website. You see it right there on the screen, www.americanreveille.com. That's www.americanreveille.com. You see that big green button? It says sign up. Hit that button, folks. Sign up for the American Reveille newsletter. Sign up for Project Underground Railroad. What this is going to do is, while Parler's down, while everything's a fritz, while people don't know what up is and what down is, what left is and what right is, I'm going to give you some daily updates, keep your mind in the right track, the right frame, keep you headed in the right direction, and update you on how we are organizing, working together, and building a coalition of like-minded individuals. Folks, big things are coming, and they are going to be magnificent, and I want you to be a part of them. So please, please, please keep informed. Sign up for the newsletter at www.americanreveille.com. If you're still with me, if you still want to help out, do me another great favor. Head over to Rumble, folks, www.rumble.com, and find me there, American Reveille. The name itself is American Reveille put together on the channel. So American, REVEILLE, if you search for it. One word, all right? American Reveille. And subscribe there. We're trying to build a base there. We're trying to get off YouTube and some of the other places that are cutting our distribution. We've already been shadow banned off of Facebook, off of Twitter, off of everywhere else. But folks, I'm not some kid. I'm not some quitter. I'm one of you. I'm a blue-collar, white-knuckle American, a calloused hand, hardworking SOB. And they ain't going to kill me off of that easy, folks. So we're going to go old school, like I said, and we're going to have more news about that coming very, very soon. Again, thank you so much for watching that great clip, and make sure you tune in next time. Bye.